Ready? Can we start? All right, we're going to get started. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Craig Stone. This is Dr. Mark Stefanelli. We're going to be your MCs for this evening. We're delighted to say that the class of 20. Hold on.
There's
Get better? Better? You can probably hear me anyway, right?
Let's try. I want it in the camera. How about now?
Good. All right, check, check. All right, for anybody who didn't hear me, I'm Dr. Craig Stone. This is Dr. Mark Stefanelli, and we're pleased to say that we've been chosen by the class of 2023 to be the MCs for Shingles Night. We're going to be the Master of Ceremonies. So before we get into just a couple of housekeeping announcements, the event is being live streamed tonight on TV for any guests that are unable to attend, so the cameras are around for that. Please take a moment to make sure your phones are on buzz. If you have to leave the room, please go out to the back door if you can. It's top of the stairs. Washrooms are located just outside the doors in the hall across the way. Jennifer Armstrong's our photographer. She's right there. She'll be taking several photographs throughout the evening. If you plan on taking pictures, please remain seated while you do so and avoid using flash photography. She will be available after the event in the atrium for any pictures that you would like. Our videographer from Skyreach Media will be filming tonight's ceremony for the graduation video that will be available to the class of 2023. In the unlikely event of an emergency, we ask that you calmly exit through the doors on the side, proceed down the hall and downstairs and out to the main med school entrance. There's an assembly point marked in parking lot 30 next to the building. Now, let us welcome the graduates of the class of 2023. Thank you. So welcome and thank you for joining us this evening. We're here tonight to celebrate our new doctors. This class has successfully navigated many challenges to get here tonight. This class started in September 2019. So during their first year, they experienced Snowmageddon and then the pandemic. They adjusted very well to many difficult challenges they faced to complete their program. They succeeded, and for that, we are very proud of them. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge that the lands on which Memorial University campuses are situated are in the traditional territories of diverse indigenous groups, and we acknowledge that with respect the histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. We encourage everyone to reflect on the lands where you are located and the indigenous people for whom these lands are traditional territory. I didn't even know jokes yet even. You guys are gonna be an easy crowd. So thanks for coming to Shingles Night. It's been a long-standing tradition at Memorial Medical School. This is my third time being the MC, and unlike my older co-MC, this is his second. So I was a class in 1993, 30 years ago. My shingle is still in my office, and I think it means more to me than my real diploma. Here's my first wife. Right here. So far, still the only. If she heard that, I'd be dead. So time really flies. 30 years ago, it's hard to believe. So they haven't changed very much, these shingles. For the family and friends of the graduates, this is much more laid back ceremony than the one everybody attended today. It's Arts and Culture Center. This is where Memorial Med School graduates will receive their shingle. That'll hang in their office for years to come, and we'll hand out some awesome awards tonight too. So a little bit about me, just for a laugh. I'm a bit of a Newfoundland outdoors type guy. I was born and raised here. I didn't win any fancy awards. I won the Lloyd and Bryce Award at my shingles night. For the students who probably don't know who Lloyd and Bryce are, they were two TV hosts in the 80s from a cheesy Newfoundland local fishing show. It was a bit more of a comedy thing than it was an outdoor show. So I won the Lloyd and Bryce Award. Here's my first boat. So safety first, the life jacket, see the life jackets me and my grandfather had on? Yeah. My first skidoo. First fishing trip with my grandfather. See the bamboo rods, no fancy graphite rods there, right? So a little fancier now. I'm a surgeon. I got a bit bigger of a boat. And on my next page, a bit better of a skidoo. Oh, missed a skidoo there. And now, this is pretty embarrassing. Go fishing with a guide who takes my salmon off the rod and all that. So my grandfather just rolled over in his grave. So most of the times I'm a father, a husband, and an orthopedic surgeon. So all the students here know what an orthopedic surgeon does, but they don't seem to know much about sterile fields. What? Too soon? No, it's never too soon. It's an inside joke. But for the non-medical people in the audience, I'll tell you a little bit about what an orthopedic surgeon does. We fix broken bones, and we perform artificial joint replacements on people with arthritis. There I am. But this is the sad part. We're often thought of as a knuckle-dragging, loud, obnoxious, dumb, cocky, you get the idea, right? Overpaid carpenters that wasted their time going to medical school, or medical school wasted their time teaching us about the Krebs cycle and history taking and compassion. But we get no respect until your femur's broken. And then we're your best friend. All this disrespect really cuts us deep. And the jokes are brutal. I'll tell you a few hurtful examples, all right? One, how do you hide $20 from an orthopedic surgeon? You put it in a patient's chart. Hold on. So for the people in the back, just explain that very hurtful joke is that orthopedic surgeons don't use the chart very much. Another one, how do you hide it? You tape it to the patient's chest. So, because we don't listen to the heart very much. And the worst one of all, how do you hide $20 from an orthopedic surgeon? You can't hide $20 from an orthopedic surgeon. Also, what do you call two orthopedic surgeons looking at a chest x-ray? Double-blind study. The hate is crazy. We cry ourselves to sleep at night. See, personally, I'm one of these holistic orthopedic surgeons. I don't just treat the fracture, I treat the whole bone. So these hurtful comments don't exist for my co-MC here. He's a neurologist, right? He takes long histories, carefully examines the patient for hours, breaks news to patients and families about, horrible, catastrophic, life-threatening illnesses. They're the caring thinkers, but they don't fix anything. A room of them could be replaced by a CT scanner. It's not fair. They get all the glory working 6 hours a day, effectively doing nothing, while I slave in the OR all night fixing bozos whose last words were, "Hold my beer and watch this." So thanks for letting me vent, okay? So on a more serious note, Dr. Bill Eaton was the MC of Shingles Night for 25 years. He MC'd mine. He was retired from university after a long, distinguished career. He now works in Marble Mountains. Picture me and him in Marble Mountains this winter past. He teaches little kids how to ski. He loves it. So there's something else about this. He was telling me about an issue book in Marble Chalets had to be done under Mullen Nursing or something. I don't know, maybe you know about that. I didn't know. I thought maybe afterwards somebody could tell me what that was about. Details were scanty, he said. Seems like you guys know what he's talking about. Mark and I have big shoes to fill. He'd get up with his guitar and he'd sing the songs that he had written, poking fun at our profession. He was brilliant. I played a guitar, but I can only play Hotel California and Lion Eyes. And it don't sound any good till me and everybody else in the room got a few beers in. So I didn't think bringing a few beers in my guitar was, Dr. Steele thought that wasn't a good idea. So I didn't do that. So I hope everybody has the unofficial, more relaxed, better graduation night tonight. To all the graduates, enjoy every minute of your career because 30 years is like a blink. Get all the clinical exposure you can. Every patient has something to teach you. Enjoy the journey because there's no destination. Most important, don't piss off the nurses. And don't get behind on your taxes. That's what my father always said. So I'm going to hand it over to my co-MC here, Dr. Stefanelli, for a few words and see if this come from away can deal with can retaliate against my insults.
I always say I can take it, but I don't give it out. So Craig, you're probably going to hurt me more than I'm going to hurt you. But first time I was asked to co-host this event was in 2019. I was the first CFA come from away to ever host a Shingles night. It was truly an honor for me. This event is uniquely Newfoundland and Labradorian. There's nothing like it at UBC where I graduated. So after the first year I was involved with this event, unfortunately, that's when the black hole of COVID hit us. And so for the last 3 years, I've been wondering, if I arse this up so badly, will I ever get to come back again? Thank you, class of 2023, for having me back to co-host this year with my esteemed colleague and friend, Dr. Craig Stone. Like all other family members, me being one of them, we are privileged and proud to share this event with you guys today. It is a true honor for all of us, and I speak from my heart. So, my first slide. That's one Craig was just put up.
That's why he's a neurologist.
So I grew up in this town, Trail, British Columbia, a rural town in BC. It's a lead zinc smelter town. It was judged in a travel magazine in the 1980s to be the ugliest city in North America. But it is populated by predominantly people of Italian descent, hence the name Stefanelli. That had an important impact in my ability to deal with patients in Newfoundland, and I'll explain that as I go on. I graduated from UBC in 1988, and with encouragement from actually 2 Newfoundland residents who were there doing their residency in Vancouver at the time, Bruce Aylward and Jane Gardner, I came here to do a rotating internship. So back then, you'd do a 1-year rotating internship, and then you'd go and work for a while, you'd pay off your massive student loans, and then you decide if you're going to go back and specialize or not. It's a different scenario now. You guys don't have that luxury. But when I finished, of course, when I came here, I met my beautiful wife and I ended up staying here. But after I completed my internship, my first job was a locum in Grand Falls at the Medical Arts Clinic. And it's now located in the Martin Greenland building. And this is a picture of it. And this is where I did my clinic. It's appropriately named after 2 extremely excellent rural physicians, Dave Greenland and Ross Martin. And I had the pleasure of working with both of them. Retrospectively, it was a fantastic experience, but at the time I just come out of medical school, I was scared as hell. I was supposed to be working in the clinic. We worked in the emergency room. I did obstetrics and deliveries. And in fact, a few months ago, one of my patients now brought in a picture of me with his baby daughter after I just helped to deliver her 34 years ago. So it was quite an experience. But one of the prime roles that I had in that locum was I had to do a traveling clinic in Roberts Arm. And I said, I grew up in a town, Trail, heavily populated by Italians. Every grandmother and father and grandparent I knew had a thick Italian accent. I didn't have much trouble with the Bay twang, but absolutely nothing that I had ever experienced before prepared me for the Newfoundland expressions and colloquialisms. So I can recall this one case where two people came into my office in Robert's Arm, and they sat down and I introduced myself and I said, please, tell me your story. And the first thing they said to me was, well, you speak good English. I was overjoyed because English was my worst subject. And so they were immediately endeared to me, and I understood what they were saying. Stefanelli, geez, I could have come from Timbuktu. They don't know. That's not an Italian name. So they sat down. I said, what's your trouble? And the man said, Doc, it's me nature. So I obviously had a perplexed look on my face. So he quickly follows that up with saying, I have trouble with my bird. Now, rural Newfoundland was under service then, as it is now. And I was thinking to myself, nature, bird, does he think they plugged the vet into the clinic? Now, his wife came to the rescue and said, Doctor, we're having troubles with our relations. I said, oh, okay. So it was probably a bit of foreshadowing for what my career would end up being, because as Craig said, as a neurologist, I can't fix anything. And back then, there was no Viagra. I couldn't help myself. And honestly, some of my best life experiences were learned in rural Newfoundland. I remember a lady came in to emergency, short of breath. I had to do an arterial blood gas. Everybody does venous gases now. Anyways, I did an arterial gas. She was very anxious, very apprehensive. She said, Doctor, I can't go through this. And I did the standard, just take a few slow, deep breaths. Picture yourself in a place of peace and tranquility. And all of a sudden, calmness came over her face. I did the arterial blood gas, no problem, and went fine. I just had to ask her. I shouldn't have done this, but I had to ask her, so where did you go? Thinking that she was going to say a beach in Florida or the top of Topsail Bluff or something, She said to me, I was at Mary Brown's having a big Mary. And that taught me one of my greatest life lessons. In neurology, we don't have a lot of bright, shining moments. So you have to take joy from the everyday. And I still thank that lady and still hear those words coming out of her mouth to this day. Okay, neurologists have to justify themselves because, again, Craig has kind of fed you the story about how we don't fix anything. So to make ourselves feel more important, we use words that nobody else understands, and most physicians have to look up. So we use terms like prosopagnosia and simultagnosia and transcortical motor aphasia, and my personal favorite, multifactorial encephalopathy. But if you look at what multifactorial encephalopathy really means, many factors or reasons for brain sickness. So I just diagnosed somebody with a sick brain of undetermined cause. Not so smart. Not so smart. That's right. Anyway. No, that's perfect. It's true. You could have diagnosed that. So despite my probable lack of intelligence, Craig and I felt we had to impart some wisdom to the departing class. So what we came up with was the idea that I would choose some famous and not so famous quotations. And Craig, as a true Newfoundlander, which in the opinion of a CFA is probably the highest compliment you could pay an individual to be called a true Newfoundlander, and he is that. But he's also got that practicality of a surgeon. So we wanted him to have an interpretation of these quotes as a Newfoundlander, honest Newfoundlander with surgical practicality. So here we go. This is my first quote. I'll give you a little intros to some of this stuff too. This is, of course, George Orwell. That's his pen name. That wasn't his actually given name. Famous British author, of course, wrote 1984, Animal Farmer, two of his probably most famous books. And George Orwell said, never use a long word when a short word will do. And Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation of the quote,
keep it simple, boy, and neurology can suck it with all their.
So now here is my my next quotation, and I'm taking credit for this myself. A medical history is only as good as the history taker. Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation of this statement. So for the non-medical people in this audience, as Craig has alluded to, somewhat erroneously, surgeons are not the best history takers. In fact, they often don't take the history at all. Okay, one of my favorite, Yogi Berra, famous catcher for the Yankees, 10-time Major League Baseball champion, 18-time All-Star. He had lots of different quotes, but this is one of his famous. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation of this quote.
Stay where you are. Stay where you're at.
I'm going to quote from my favorite movie of all times. This is The Princess Bride. The book was written by William Goldman. It's a cult movie. If you haven't seen it, you should really watch it. It's hilarious. This is a quote. It's a longer quote than this, but just to trim it down. Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line. But I have told Craig many times, I am not a Sicilian. So Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation of this quote.
Don't go in a punt in February with 12-foot swells.
I was told to cut this short, but I have to go through all my slides now. Sorry, Charlotte. Here we go. Okay. Do not mistake a finger pointing at the moon for the mood itself. This is the enlightened one, the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, and Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation of this quote.
We're on the road, boys, but Porta Basque is still alive.
Irma Bombeck, famous satirist and author, published over 15 books, most of them bestsellers. She's an American writer. Never go to a doctor whose office plants have died. Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation.
What the heck would have led to me at the Pratt's office?
Another one, Robert E. Howard, famous author, committed suicide at the age of 30 because his mother went into a coma with TB. Thought to be the father of the sword and sorcery genre. From Conan the Barbarian, one of his books. A little bit take on the more traditionally known quote, that which does not kill us, does not kill us. Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation.
It is what it is, but
Okay, I had to quote Confucius, probably one of the most learned men of all times. He who runs after two hares will catch neither. Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation.
why chase a rabbit when you have a 30-06?
I thought that was a better one than that. I thought I was going to get a better laugh than that. Okay, I'm almost teed up. It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up. Vince Lombardi, who the Super Bowl trophy is named after. Newfoundland
Some
orthopedic.
thick and tough, but
And my last one is Coach Wooden. A friend of my brother's played for Coach Wooden at UCLA. He won 10 NCAA basketball championships in 12 years, never been duplicated. Things work out best for those who make the best of how things work. Newfoundland orthopedic surgeon's interpretation.
Bodie can put an arse in a cat.
Okay, now this is a MC's prerogative. I have one slide that I put up, and it's probably my limited contribution to Med 2023. I don't know if I can get a pointer here, but my tie, my tie, my tie, my tie. And my socks. And G-Man, I don't blame you. I love him too. And Eric, I thought the loan of that tie would have bought me an invitation to your wedding. But so be it. And my last thing to say to you guys is, you guys have chosen a very honorable profession. You remember that you have chosen your own superpower, the power to heal. Greg usually chimes in and says, unless you did neurology, but
I thought he had enough to know.
I had enough to know. You are the humane in humanity. And to quote S.E. Hinton from the famous book, The Outsiders, stay gold. I'm now going to introduce Dean Dr. Margaret Steele, Dean of Medicine. Dr. Steele's illustrious career spans nearly 30 years and includes a decade of progressive decanal experience at the Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry at the University of Western Ontario, and since 2016, the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador. She's been a full professor of psychiatry since 2008. Dr. Steele has been a distinguished leader in child and adolescent psychiatry in Canada. She's been the president of the Ontario Psychiatric Association, president of the Canadian Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, president of the Association of Professors in Child and Adolescent Psychiatry in Canada, and a member of the Canadian Psychiatric Association Board. She led the successful application at the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada for child and adolescent psychiatry to become a recognized subspecialty. This has resulted in the development of national standards for the discipline, while at the same time ensuring that children and youth with mental illness and their families would be provided with the best evidence-based care. She's the first Canadian to be an associate of the American Medical College Council of Dean Fellow. In 2018, because of her contributions to research and science, Dr. Steele was elected as a Fellow of the Canadian Academy of Health Sciences. Very recently, she was named Professor Emerita of the University of Western Ontario. Dr. Steele brings to us a proven track record of success in senior leadership and administration, education, research, and community engagement. Please welcome Dr. Margaret Steele.
Thank you, Mark and Craig. I would welcome all our doctors, their families, friends, faculty, and special guests. And thank you for joining us as we celebrate the Doctor of Medicine class of 2023. So congratulations to each and every one of you. So it's a pleasure to be able to see so many of you in person, and a special hello to all of those who are attending virtually as we celebrate the significant achievements of our graduates. It was an honor and a privilege to congratulate each of you on stage today. It's one of my favorite parts of the year when I actually am the first one who officially calls you doctor. So I think you all did look stunning and did a great job. I was also reminded of the fact this year, you might not know this, but it's the 50th anniversary of the first graduating class. And so they're all excited. There were 23 of them, and they're going to be coming in the fall. And hopefully those of you who are still here might be able to interact with them and see what's come of them, because they've done wonderful things. In the coming years and even decades ahead, you'll have opportunities to recall your time in medical school and appreciate what you have all accomplished. It's interesting. I asked some of you on stage, how are you feeling? And some of you were like, others like really excited. You should be really excited. This is a great profession and you've accomplished a tremendous amount of things. It is without a doubt that over the past 3 years, our lives have changed dramatically, which has affected the way in which our graduates have completed their medical education. Compared to any other medical graduates in the past 100 years, you will have become experts on the institution of public health guidelines for pandemics, vaccines, virtual healthcare, the use of personal protection equipment, and how society continues to adapt to a post-COVID world. During your early days as medical students, you were no doubt full of excitement to start your career as a physician, and probably really not sure what you would experience. But over the past 4 years, you have had opportunities to see a broad range of things within medicine, the health sciences, and public health. But through all the ups and downs and in-betweens, you've worked so hard and you've achieved an amazing feat. I'm sure some of the weeks seemed incredibly long, but as you take a moment to reflect, I'm sure it all seems to have happened in the flash of the eye. And now here you are, ready to embark on the next stage of your medical career. Your families, significant others, and friends deserve to share in your celebration. I want to personally thank everyone for all of the support you've provided to our students and for sharing their joys, challenges, sorrows, and accomplishments as they completed medical school. You are now heading into residency, and I have no doubt of the success and achievements that will be realized by each of you as you prepare for this next step in your careers. It has been truly a privilege to be your Dean of Medicine, and I'm glad we've been able to celebrate this important milestone in your lives. I want you to know that the Faculty of Medicine wishes you all the best as you continue the next step in your journey as compassionate and competent physicians. I look forward to welcoming those of you who are staying at Memorial as our newest postgraduate residents, which will be just over a month. So I hope you relax and do fun stuff in the next month. And for those of you who will be continuing your education in another part of their country, please keep in touch and let us know how you are doing. In closing, I again want to extend my congratulations, and I'm very proud to call each and every one of you doctor. Congratulations.
Thanks, Dr. Steele. Now I'd like to recognize the class valedictorian who was selected for the class of 2023. So this learner has made significant contributions to the undergraduate student life. In her leadership qualities, research, and volunteer work have earned her several awards and educational grants. Prior to medical school, she completed a Bachelor of Nursing from Memorial University, earning a place in the Dean's List for high performance during her nursing education. She was awarded the Leslie Harris Alumni Association Scholarship and nominated for the 2019 and 2023 Chancellor Undergraduate Award for demonstrating the greatest contribution to student life at Memorial. As a member of the medicine faculty, she has multiple leadership positions and has been a shining example for others. She's the president of the class of 2023, president and founder of the Canadian Atlantic Medical Students Association, and has served on the National Board of Directors for the Canadian Federation of Medical Students. She plays an active role in Memorial University COVID Task Force, providing valuable insights on virtual assessment methods, the delivery of virtual clinical skills, and effectively catering to the needs of the Memorial Medicine class of 2023 students throughout the entire pandemic. She also co-founded and co-led the Memorial University branch of the Federation of Medical Women of Canada, where she guided a group of students and physician leaders in researching the barriers faced by women in medicine with the goal of establishing a national workshop to educate female trainees on overcoming such barriers. Her passion for innovation is evident through her involvement in co-founding and co-chairing the MedSimlands National Council, a student-led initiative that used crowdsourcing and 3D printing to provide students with affordable and accessible simulation devices in the field of medicine. She's also co-founder of the Canadian Global Surgery Trainees Alliance, Memorial University chapter, and later became the vice president of research for the CGSTA National Executive, where she assisted in spearheading research projects aimed at improving global surgery education in Canada. Furthermore, her previous role as co-chair of the Heart and Stroke Red Dress event in Newfoundland and Labrador, in which she worked tirelessly to raise awareness about the prevalence of cardiovascular disease and stroke among our local population, and to secure funding for research initiatives, demonstrated her commitment to her community. I think everybody in the class certainly knows who this is. Congratulations, Dr. Stephanie Roberts. Oh, click. Dr. Stephanie Roberts. Dr. Dean is going to accept her. Thank you. Thanks. Dr. Roberts says a few words for us.
Thank you, Dr. Stone and Dr. Stefanelli, for the introduction. And thank you to our family, our friends, preceptors, senior faculty members, Dean Steele, and staff of the Faculty of Medicine who made these 4 years everything that they were. It's my honor today to address the graduating class as your valedictorian. As introduced, my name is Stephanie Roberts, and on August 30th, 2019, I was elected as president of the Memorial Medicine class of 2023. At first, I perceived this role to be comparable to other leadership positions that I had held. Its essence was in representing my peers, the senior leadership, acting as a channel of communication, and serving as an advocate for the needs of our class. But as alluded to previously, around 5 months into this 4-year term, we were hit by a historical snowstorm. Our first experience with chaos, with isolation, and with uncertainty. I remember waking up on the first morning of what we now refer to as Snowmageddon to dozens of panic messages from my classmates about how we would adapt to virtual learning for the week, how our assessments would be impacted, and ultimately, if this time missed would impact our completion date. And just a few short weeks later, the echoes of a global pandemic started to spread. On a Tuesday afternoon, on March 17th, 2020, we as learners of the class of 2023 completed our final in-person medical school lecture. And just a day later, Memorial University's Faculty of Medicine closed their doors to in-person training for an undetermined amount of time. Merely months ago, the journey that we had eagerly embarked upon, the collective aspiration of becoming physicians, now felt strangely unfamiliar. The members of the class of 2023 learned the fundamental principles of becoming physicians in the comfort of our living rooms, our makeshift garage classrooms, our personal home offices, and even within the confines of a tent along a hiking trail, and I'm pointing at Maddie. In the beginning, we had developed our physical examination skills by practicing on our roommates, our partners, our bubble mates, and even our ever-patient parents. We said goodbye to the training experience we knew, as did the majority of others around the world. But now as we stand here on our first day as physicians, our responsibilities and duties to deliver the greatest quality of care to our patients remains the same as those who came before us. As a result, I present these challenges to you not to dwell on the negative aspects of our journey, but rather to redirect our attention towards what I believe we have gained from this experience. The pandemic presented a challenging background for our medical training, but it also formed us early in our medical careers into a class that is exceptionally adaptable. Throughout unprecedented times, we have demonstrated unwavering perseverance and determination. We navigated through rapidly changing guidelines, we adopted virtual learning, assessment tools, and quickly adapted to evolving healthcare practices. This experience has strengthened our problem-solving skills, enhanced our ability to think quickly and decisively, and enable us to adjust our approaches to patient care with remarkable agility. As a result, we are emerging as a cohort of healthcare providers who are well-equipped to handle unexpected situations, adept at acclimating to new protocols, and capable of delivering high-quality care in the face of adversity. Not only have we proven to be adaptable, but our experience in medical school has truly embodied the essence of resilience. The field of medicine is replete with situations that test our emotional and our mental fortitude. While preparing this speech, I returned to our MunMed 2023 Facebook group, and I counted 57 of my own posts. 57 times I shared with the class of 2023 new information that would not only impact their education, but also their personal, professional, and family lives. In the midst of chaos, our resilience enabled us to maintain composure, clarity, and focus. It empowered us to find innovative solutions to complex problems and shift our mindset to thrive amidst demanding circumstances. Today, my wish for our class is that we continue to value resilience as an essential component of our practice moving forward. As we stand at the beginning of our medical careers during a time of shortages, burnout, and despair, I am confident that our cohort of medical graduates are a gift to the present state of healthcare. I am confident because I know that our challenges have produced a new generation of physicians who have demonstrated profound adaptability, dedication, and resilience. We are prepared, and the time has come for us to not only apply the knowledge that we have acquired, but also leverage the unique experiences we have collectively encountered to support our fellow colleagues in practice. Lastly, this position has allowed me to connect with each of you on a personal level. I have treasured the Sunday afternoon phone calls, the late night messages, and the shared determination to overcome obstacles such as navigating closed provincial borders, coping with personal and family losses, and making difficult decisions about returning home to be with partners and families. I am truly honored to have served as your leader for the past 4 years and am grateful for the trust that you placed in me as your confidant and your voice at the table. Even as my time as class president concludes, my answer has and will always be, yes, we will figure it out together. And my only ask in return is, please pick up the phone when I send you my referrals. So I'll conclude and say, the oak fought the wind and was broken, but the willow bent when it had to, and it survived. To the Memorial Medicine class of 2023, we have bent, but we are far from broken. So thank you so much for the honor of being class president and for listening to me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. It was a magnificent speech. I have to ask Adam to change the camera so people watching from home can see the upcoming presentations, which may take a few minutes, I've been told. A moment. Good. Okay, we're back on. Each year, the graduating class members are asked to complete a survey where they are asked to select learners and professional colleagues who they feel best exemplify a number of distinguishing characteristics. The presentations to the winners of these awards will take place now. I would ask Dr. Steele to come forward again to make the presentations. I will read a short description of the award, and I will call the recipient to the stage. I would ask the awards recipients to remain up front for a picture and to stand on the mark on the floor. So the first is, Charlotte, do I change this slide here before if I click it, do I? Yes. Okay, one more. Okay, there it is, the Dr. Bob Green Memorial Award in Medicine. Dr. Bob Green was well known for providing outstanding patient care with determination and strength of character in overcoming multiple medical problems, graduated on time, and went on to specialize in anesthesia, obtaining fellowship in anesthesiology. This award was established by the MD class of 1981 during their 30th reunion. And this award today is being presented to Dr. Jessica Henley. This award goes to a fourth-year medical student who's experienced adversity during the Doctor of Medicine degree program. Congratulations. What after you get your picture?
All right, the next award is the Dr. Charles Nardini Memorial Award. Chip Nardini is better known as, was a medical student who died accidentally on the 1st of March 1986. He received his degree posthumously. This award was established a member of Dr. Nardini by his classmates, the class of 1986, and is being presented to Dr. Eric Fradsham. This award goes to the fourth-year medical student who best exemplifies the characteristics of leadership, friendliness, good humor, care and concern for fellow students and patients. Congratulations, Dr. Pratt.
Okay, the next award is the Dr. Gregory Rideout Award. This award was established by Dr. Rideout's classmates, which was the class of 2003, in memory of his heroic act that saved the life of a man who would have drowned but for his intervention. I understand that the sister of the man is our photographer today, Jennifer. Julie, thank you. This award today is presented to Dr. Melissa Tobin. This award goes to a fourth-year medical student who has demonstrated an outstanding commitment to activities outside of medical school that will benefit others. Congratulations, Melissa.
Our next award is the I.E. Rusted Award. Dr. Ian Rusted was the founding father of the medical school. It's because of his vision and determination that Newfoundland and Labrador has a medical school today. The medical school first admitted its first students in September of 1969. And this award is presented to Dr. Stephanie Rouse. This award goes to the fourth-year student who made the greatest contribution to the graduating class. Congratulations, Stephanie. Thanks, Dr. Steele. You can sit again, please. A little break for you. I'd now ask Dr. Eric Fradsham and Dr. Stephanie Roberts to come forward to present the following awards to the faculty and staff that were chosen through the survey.
The Dr. Wallace Ingram Award is a faculty award that was established in 2004 by the Medical Graduate Society to honor the late Dr. Wallace Ingram, Professor Emeritus, Internal Medicine, for his outstanding contributions to medical education throughout his career. The award this year is presented to Dr. Jillian Shepard. This award goes to a physician who has been providing outstanding clinical teaching, shown interest in students and their well-being, and served as a positive role model. Very well deserved. Congratulations, Jillian.
The Silver Orator Award is presented to the professor who has provided the finest lectures with respect to content, style, humor, and aptness. This award is presented to, drum roll please, Dr. Rod Russell.
Community Physician Teaching Award. This award is presented to the rural physician who has provided outstanding teaching and guidance to students during clerkship. Phil, you're in the hometown of my mother-in-law. You better take good care of her. This award goes to Dr. Philip Holloway. I think Dr. Craig Stone will accept that award for Philip Holloway.
Yeah, he'd love that. Actually, can we take a picture of that? He'd love it.
Craig and Phil are excellent.
So the next is the Outstanding Resident Award. This award is presented to the resident who has provided outstanding teaching and guidance to students during their clerkship. This award is presented to Karen. He's not here either. Oh, Karen's not here. Okay. Karen Vastanet.
the Honorary Order of the Killick Award. This year, there are 2 recipients of this award as the votes resulted in a tie. This award is presented to staff members that have made an outstanding contribution to the graduating class of 2023 above and beyond the call of duty. This award is presented to Elis Winter and Kelly Preston.
Thanks, Dr. Roberts and Fradsham. Oh, sorry. You're back up, Dr. Steele. Your turn again. So the next, the Golden Humanism Award Society. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation initiated the development of the Gold Humanism Society, designed to recognize fourth-year medical students who demonstrated exemplary humanistic qualities essential to good doctoring, integrity, excellence, compassion, altruism, respect, empathy, and service. They are voted on by the graduating class and they're awarded a certificate of honor and a specially designed GHHS lapel pin by the society. Congratulations, and please come forward as we call your name. After receiving your awards, you may take a seat on the stage or stand behind the chairs to wait for the group photo. First one. Dr. Rachel Price. Dr. Melissa Tobin. Dr. Hamza Shogun. Dr. Jane Coos. Dr. Jessica Hearn. Dr. Allison Best. Dr. Charity Jean Jorover. Dr. Nadine Houlihan. Dr. Jamie Green. Dr. Hillary Turpin. And last but not least, Dr. Elizabeth Rowe.
The next presentations will be made to the learners who are eligible for the Dean's List. These learners had to place in the top 10% of their class overall average, demonstrated professionalism in the program, completed all course requirements, and obtained a GPA of 3.5 or higher. Congratulations to the following learners who've been selected to the Dean's List. Please come forward. After receiving your award, you may take a seat on stage or stand behind the chairs to wait for a group photo. First person, Dr. Megan Snow. Dr. Alice Chen. Dr. Skylar Tang. I don't think Skylar's not in the audience today. Dr. Aaron O'Brien. Dr. Kayla Vigers. Dr. Hamza Shogun. Dr. Maxime Landry. And again, last but not least, but unfortunately not in the audience according to my notes, is Dr. Aaron Wiseman.
Next award is the University Medal for Academic Excellence. Only one medal may be awarded in any discipline in any academic year. The following criteria governs the awarding of university medals. The learner must be a candidate for a professional degree of the faculty or school. They cannot already hold a baccalaureate or equivalent in the same subject area from this or any other institution of higher learning. They must have completed at least 50% of the courses required for the degree at this university. They are judged to be an outstanding student in the professional studies of the faculty or school, and they are nominated to the Senate Committee on Undergraduate Scholarship, Bursaries, and Awards by the Dean, Director or Department Head as appropriate. So the University Medal of Excellence goes to Dr. Megan Snow.
Well, now it's time to present the shingles. I ask Dean Steele to please remain present to present the shingles to the class of 2023. Each of our newest medical doctors receives an individual shingle to hang in their practice. As Craig mentioned, he is more proud of his shingles than he is of his diploma. I don't have a shingle, and I wish I did. The shingles are beautifully created by Terry O'Brien. Mr. O'Brien's daughter graduated from the class of 2021, and he generously provided his craftsmanship again to the class of 2023. Big thank you to Mr. O'Brien for his work. Graduates, please come forward as your name is called. Remember to stand on the mark, and Jennifer will also take a picture. Dr. Leah Aitken. Dr. Emma Antle. Dr. Allison Best. Dr. Sarah Boyd. Dr. Hannah Brennan. Dr. Timothy Brennan. Dr. Mitchell Chalk.
Dr. Elizabeth Rowe. Oh, no. Dr. Jamie Chalk.
Clark.
Dr. Leah Coles. Dr. Alex Como. Dr. Joshua Conway. Dr. Jane Coos. Dr. Leah Craig. Dr. Charity Jean Drover. Dr. Eric Fradsham.
Dr. Robert Gill. Dr. Jamie Green. Dr. Yaswanta Gumadi. Dr. Michael Hand. Dr. Katie Harris. Dr. Kristen Hawks. Dr. Jessica Herm.
Dr. Jessica Henley. Dr. Nadine Houlihan. Dr. Martin Hurley. Dr. Nadia Kashetsky. Dr. Elizabeth Kennedy. Dr. Joseph Landine.
Dr. Maxime Landry. Dr. Sidney London. Dr. Julia Long. Dr. Melissa Loiser. Dr. Maria McDonald. Dr. Erica Maxwell.
Dr. Adam McGuire. Dr. Joshua McShane. Dr. Michael McWhorter. Dr. Ryan Murray. Dr. Emma Nolan. Dr. Alex Norman. Dr. Aaron O'Brien. Dr. Jessica Pelly.
Dr. Gerard Powell. Dr. Keon Power. Dr. Claire Pratt. Dr. Rachel Price. Dr. Evan Pugh. Dr. Christopher Shue.
Dr. Alexander Ransom. Dr. Zah Rian. Dr. Amelia Riggs. Dr. Andrew Robart. Dr. Stephanie Roberts. Dr. Alice Chin. Dr. Brittany Ryan. Dr. Hamza Shogun. Budding fellow orthopod, Dr. Jordy Slaney. Dr. Sarah Smith.
Dr. Brandon Snow. Dr. Megan Snow. Oh, okay. Dr. Nalita Sud. She's not here today. Dr. Saranga Sriranganathan.
How do you pronounce the next one?
I'll just call him my boy. Dr. Melissa Tobin. Dr. Holly Tracy. Dr. Madeline Trupiano.
Dr. Hillary Turpin. Dr. Kayla Vigers. Dr. Emma Walsh. Dr. Burton Ward. Dr. Joshua Ward. And last but not least, Dr. Jacqueline Wing. So Dr. Zachary Dwyer and Christopher Feder couldn't be here today. Scholar Tang or Aaron Wiseman. So that concludes the presentation of the shingles. Thank you to Jennifer Armstrong and Dr. Eric Fradsham for creating the shingles PowerPoint. I'll ask Adam to prepare for the Hippocratic Oath. I'd like now to welcome Dr. Scott Moffatt, who will recite the Oath of Hippocrates with all the graduates.
Thank you, Craig. One more second. Sure if I've got my right side. We're good to go? Okay. And thank you to the class of 2023, the Faculty of Medicine here at Memorial, for asking me to recite the Hippocratic Oath here on this special occasion. It's truly an honor. Before we proceed to the oath, though, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to tell a story, offer what I hope is sage advice, reflect on the human part of medicine, and give a dad's perspective as to what this moment means to those who love you. So here's the story. I remember this night well as I graduated from medical school with the class of 1987. That was a long time ago. I think Dr. Steele, we graduated the same year. Yeah.
We're young.
After Shingles night and before a house party on 6 Ordnance Street, which depending on your demographic is either across from the old Hotel Newfoundland or just a few doors up from Bannerman Brewery. I'd say most of the graduating class would recognize the latter more than the former. And which I shared with a few who come from a ways. And my sisters and mother took my grandmother, Vera, 85-year-old woman, into bed in the old hotel. And then they came over to the class party at our house and celebrated with our class. It was a night of revelry. Close to midnight, with the party in full swing, I looked up and who was standing in the kitchen, asking for her usual, a glass of rum and water. Heavy on the rum, light on the water, but Vera, my grandmother. She'd woken up and decided to join the party. So if you know the area, it means she had to walk across a very busy median, like midnight. And after she had her nightcap in hand, we all sang "For She's a Jolly Good Fellow," and continued the festivities into the wee hours of the night. And it's a memory I've cherished over the years. And just as each of you are creating your own memories during this graduation celebration. The sage advice. The Hippocratic Oath speaks in part directly to the implicit confidence that each of your parents have that all matters discussed during the patient interactions which you have with them remain confidential. This confidentiality must be upheld at all times for your sake, professionally and personally, in terms of your integrity as well as the integrity of the medical profession. The human piece. As you begin your journey through your residency and then your career in your chosen discipline, remember always that kindness to your patients and their families is something which should always be offered to them. It's something that comes from the heart. It's hard to describe, but you know it when you see it, and you know it when you hear it, and you definitely know it when you feel it. Offer generously kindness to your patients each day, especially late at night when you're tired, especially with those difficult encounters. And especially when, for some reason, whatever it is, your A game is dropped to a B+ game on a particular day. By offering your patient a branch of human kindness, they'll get a glimpse into you as a person, and person who's behind the stethoscope. And you'll see the heart of your patient, who's a person in need and who needs your care. And finally, this is the dad part. I was listening to Carole King, one of my favorite singer-songwriters, last night. And in her 1971 Live in Carnegie Hall album, which if you haven't heard it, you should listen to it. she sang a song called Child of Mine, and the lyrics are apropos for this evening. And they should resonate with parent figures that are either here today or here in spirit. And the first verse goes, although you see the world different than me, sometimes I can touch upon the wonder that you see. All the new colors and pictures you've designed. Oh yes, sweet darling, so glad you are a child of mine. So I'd ask you to stand and join me in reciting the Hippocratic Oath. As the ancient Greeks swore by their gods, so do I solemnly affirm that as a graduate in medicine of Memorial University of Newfoundland, according to my ability and judgment, I will keep this oath and stipulation. I will follow that system of regimen which I consider for the benefit of my patients, and abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous into whatever house I shall enter. I go into it for the benefit of the sick and will abstain from every voluntary act of mischief and corruption. Whenever in connection with my professional practice or not in connection with it, I see or hear in the lives of men which ought not to be spoken of abroad, I will not divulge, as reckoning that all such should be kept secret. While I continue to keep this oath unviolated, may it be granted me to enjoy life and the practice of the art, respected by all people in all times. And should I trespass and violate this oath, may the reverse be my lot. I wish each and every one of you all the very best in your medical careers and in life. Thank you.
Congratulations, graduates. Welcome to the medical profession. Hello, doctors. Each year, a class tile is created by the graduating class and signed by all the learners in the class. I would like to call forward Dr. Hannah Brennan, Dr. Clary Pratt, and Dr. Melissa Tobin to present the tile on behalf of their class. After our event today, this tile will be left up front for each graduate to sign before it is sent for framing. It will then be hung in the student lounge alongside a collection that is roughly 4 decades in the making. Will you please come down, Dr. Brennan, Dr. Pratt, and Dr. Tobin?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for coming and all your support. Before we talk about the class tile, Hannah and Melissa and I just wanted to give a very quick shout out and thank you on behalf of the class to Adam Cisco. Adam has stood by every single one of our lectures online, and he is the MVP of the class. If anyone's given out honorary MDs.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're so happy to have you all here and celebrating this long-standing tradition with us. What started out as the graduating class painting a tile has now developed into the graduating class designing a poster referred to as the class tile. It will be mounted in our student lounge along the other tiles from previous years. And I assume the transition from tile to poster is because we ran out of tiles, and it would probably be pretty expensive to renovate to expand the ceiling, but who knows?
Myself, Hannah, and Claire are very pleased to present the tile for the class of 2023. When we first came up with the Guess Who concept, it was primarily favored as something that would be fun to develop and also engaging for the viewer. However, after discussing it further, we found that the concept was a bit more significant than we had realized. We've had some really great times, and we felt that the game aspect represented that well. But more so than that, our experience during medical school was anything but conventional. With only 6 months in person in the first 2 years, we spent more time apart than together. And in this context, it became extremely important to us to make sure that every single student in the class was represented on the tile. We are all here today because of the strength and support we provided to each other, and this celebration is a result of the sum of its parts, which is every one of us. After the ceremony, we invite everyone to come have a look and find themselves. And for class members to please sign wherever you like along the poster. The margin seemed like a pretty great spot to me. So we hope you enjoy having a look at it and as much as we enjoyed making it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brennan, Dr. Pratt, and Dr. Tobin. And we have one final recognition before we finish the event. We have a list of graduates who received awards, scholarships, and bursaries that we would like to acknowledge. And it's a running list. It's too fast for me to read. So it's on you guys. After it goes through the third time, let me know. I would now like to invite Dean Steele to make a few closing remarks.
So we're just about done. I want to thank all of the people who made this happen. So the Office of Learner Wellbeing and Success, Jennifer Armstrong, who takes all the pictures, Adam Cisco, who obviously I have to give you a degree at some point, Dr. Stone and Dr. Stefanelli for providing us with levity and great humor. And I learn always about the Newfoundland culture. Dr. Scott Moffatt, who provided the Hippocratic Oath. I would like to congratulate all the award winners, both faculty, staff, and of course, all the students. And if we can all, one more time, put our hands together and congratulate our graduates. And I want to thank the graduates because it has not been an easy 4 years for you. And, you know, you've continued to have your commitment to the profession of medicine, to your colleagues, to your patients, to the faculty and to the staff. And, you know, it's been a real privilege for me to see how you've developed despite all the challenges that you've experienced. So because this is the end of the evening, I would ask all of you, except for the students, if you could make your way to the atrium, because we're going to have a little reception, and for the class to stay, because we're going to have a group photo. So again, enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you all for supporting our students and for coming.